What's up, my fellow Chibits? How has everybody's day been so far? Since today is chapter day and we have, the big three coming out, I was curious, how is everybody's day so far? How do you feel about this morning? Because I have to say, Bleach, once again, on point. I will have to admit, I'm loving these past couple of chapters of Bleach, man. I really am, because Bleach, when it gets into some flashbacks and some content like it's been doing, it gets very, very, very fucking enjoyable, and it's why I started this series. And been seeing, this chapter, I'm really liking the direction this is taking, because getting to see some characterization for these side characters, it really makes me invest in the series where I want to find out more of what is going on, and that's exactly what this chapter is. And I mean, you can't get enough of it. Like, you get to see those backgrounds. Like, I gotta take a moment to say, I mentioned it last week, and I want to really mention it right now. Kubo is really going all out recently. Like, I mean, he's not the top 10, like, the best I've ever seen, but when it comes to Kubo, usually he just has solid white or, solid black backgrounds. That's usually how Kubo is. But I've been noticing for the past couple chapters, especially with last week's chapter and in this chapter, Kubo's been adding in those backgrounds, and they've been looking really sick as fuck. Like, they look fucking great. And especially in this chapter, once again, backgrounds being shown, I'm really liking that. I'm really liking the look of those backgrounds. I gotta compliment Kubo when he deserves those compliments. Kubes is doing some work. He's putting in that work, and I have to compliment him for that. Those backgrounds look sick as fuck. I'm loving the character designs. I'm loving this past. I'm loving this flashback. It's very interesting. So let's dive into what this chapter is about. So, as what the main focus of Bleach has been about for the past couple chapters, it's been focused on Jugo and Baz B. And that's been the main focus and the main focus of this flashback, along with them kind of wanting to kill Balk and figuring out why they joined the Stern Raiders and why they want to kill him. We found out a bunch of information, and to see how this chapter was structured, I'm really starting to see the viewpoint now of why Jugo is like he is and why Bazby is like he is, and getting to see their stances as where they're at when it comes to Stern Raiders and why they act the way they do between each other throughout the entire series from this arc. And to see how at the end of this chapter we see something very interesting from Jugo. Jugo, he was standing. He was standing up from the spirit pressure, and that's something I gotta mention. As we've seen throughout the entirety of Bleach, there's been characters that bowed to the power of characters. Like, they didn't willingly bow, they just had to fucking bow, and they got broke to their damn knees because the spirit pressure of these certain people were so damn strong that it put the people to their fucking face onto the ground. And that's what happened to majority of people in this chapter. Like, Baz B was pretty much forced to the ground, and you saw Jugo, he was standing up like he wasn't even affected. He was like, I don't feel shit. And then, Balk looks at him, he's like, how's my other half doing, Jugo? And then, the chapter ends. And so that right there goes to show you Jugo is very strong. He's very powerful, even though from the way it's been built up in these past couple chapters, and we do know Jugo's strong because we see him, in present day, but to see how in the past he was very weak, like he couldn't pull off, like, making arrows. He couldn't make arrows, Quincy arrows, he couldn't form them and anything like that, and he couldn't really control his spirit pressure or anything like that. So it's kind of weird to see how someone like that is someone so closely related to Balk and so damn strong. And it just goes to show you that there's some hidden potential inside of Jugo for him to be like he is. And I wonder how Baz B really feels about this. I feel like Baz B has envy and jealousy towards Jugo. I really think he does, if I think about this, because the way Jugo has been built up these past couple chapters, and the way, Balk is looking at him, how they're having their fight right now in present day time, it makes me feel like Baz B has some form of envy towards Jugo. And I wonder why that's kind of why they've kind of separated as friends slightly compared to how they were in the past. I wonder that's exactly why it is like it is. And I do wonder if Jugo still feels, I guess, resentment or wants to take down Balk in present day, or did he really just change his mind over time? I'm very curious if that's exactly how, Jugo thinks. But when it comes to the chapter, the structure, I love the structure, I love the conclusion of the chapter. It didn't feel like any panel was really wasted, and that's a very good thing, because Bleach has a huge issue with, having, like, in-canon filler with some of its chapters, kind of recapping things we've already seen, or, slowing down with some panels that we don't really need. And I'm glad Kubo has been on point and been doing a lot of good work these past couple chapters, because it really is starting to show. It really is. And I'm thankful he is doing stuff like this, because it is just so amazing. And it really has been a great time reading Bleach these past couple weeks, especially with the content we've gotten. And so yeah, I mean, what was your favorite moment of this chapter we got this week? How'd you feel about all that information? How'd you feel about Jugo and Bazby? How'd you feel about Bazby charging that soldier, and then, you know, the soldier got kind of, I guess he didn't get wrecked. Bazby got wrecked. Soldier just had to bow because of the pressure of, you know, Balk, and then Jugo standing up. I mean, how do you feel about all that? Let me know in the comments below. You please be safe. Chibi out.